Hello. Today we're going to go over in steps 1 through 5 for your plant cell model project and narrative that you'll be working on for the next 2 weeks. It'll be due September 26th, which is not this Friday, but the following Friday. So for the first 5 steps that we'll be working on this week, you'll need your a white piece of cardstock paper, as well as items that you want to use to create your model. Now remember, you can use a few things that'll be raised, but this sheet does need to fit back into your portfolio, so your model will have to be relatively flat. I want you to try to use at least 2 different kinds of items, so it'll be mixed media. So either you can use some paper and then some paint, or you can use 2 different kinds of paint. You can use various kinds of paper or other things like that. Now you'll begin by drawing 2 lines at the top in pencil and writing the title. In this case, it's Plant Cell Model and Narrative, and then writing who the author is or your name. So I put by Miss Katrina. Then underneath it, you'll want to make sure that your model takes up about half of the piece of paper with room for sentences down below. Now, if you need a second sheet of paper to write additional sentences, that's fine. But don't write any sentences on the back of your sheet of paper. Write them on a separate second sheet of paper if you run out of space at the bottom once you get to writing your sentences next week. So for this week, we're going to be working on the model. So I've chosen to use several different kinds of paper. I have construction paper. I have what's called vellum, which is kind of a translucent type of paper in a couple different colors. If I can pick it up. As well as some pom-poms for my model. So once you have your title and your author written, you can trace it out with your black, here it is, it's right in front of me, your black fine tip marker, just like we did for the verse, making sure to use your best handwriting, as well as watching your spacing both between your letters and between the words that you are writing. So let me show you what I mean. Finish this part. Then once you're finished writing with your black marker, your fine tip marker, then like you did last week, you'll take your eraser and erase any of the stray pencil lines and marks that you cannot see, that you can still see after tracing it. Once you're finished with that, then you begin building your model. So this is going to be my cell wall. And I'm just going to use some glue from my glue stick. And I'm going to put it on my paper. Okay, so there now I have my cell wall. And I made sure that I left some room on the side, so then I could then draw a line and label it, as well as room over here so I can draw other lines and label what I need to label once I finish my model. Then I have my cytoplasm, which is all that liquid that's kind of running through the cell that allows for movement of the movement of the water, movement of the food, all that, the waste products. And I cut it just a little bit smaller than my cell wall, so then I have room for my cell membrane there. Then I have my little mitochondria, which I'm going to make red. And I will go back once I glue them in and add detail to them, because the mitochondria does have little folds inside of them once my glue is dry. And for that, I'll use some fine tip markers. Now, because of the next one that I'm going to use is the vacuoles, and the vacuoles are I chose to kind of do it double layer so that it could show how it's a little bit translucent, but yet it's full of what the plant needs as far as the waste and the energy that it brings. So there's my vacuole. Then I have my nucleus that I'm going to put in the middle of my cell. And then finally I have my little chloroplast. Now, in the diagrams that I posted for you to look at and for you to follow as your examples, there are many other cell organelles is what they're called, or cell parts, and you're welcome to do as many of those cell parts as you want. Just make sure that you have these cell parts that I've included, which are the most important cell parts, and that any cell parts that you do add, that you label them. So there's my rough cell, and then I would use my markers and add details to it. So, for example, to my mitochondria, I'll add some wavy lines to show they have little folds inside of them. And to my nucleus, so I've added some little lines. To my nucleus, I'll add the center of the nucleus. So I'll add kind of a little ball there in the middle. To my nucleus. Okay. So put a little bit of thought, what kind of colors you want to use, what kind of items that you have around the house already that you want to add to make it a little bit creative, make it more interesting, show the different parts of the cell. Then, just as we did up here, we're going to use our pencil to make sure that we have our straight lines and to be able to label it. So once you've finished putting all your organelles in your plant cell, then you will use a pencil to, oops, wrong thing. I didn't grab a pencil. Where's my pencil? My pencil was just here. Here it is. Okay, I'm sorry. So, for example, I'll use my ruler because I want to make sure that I keep it a straight line. So I'll use my ruler and very lightly draw a line out here from my cell wall. Then I'll leave space so I can write cell wall on there, and then from my cell membrane, I'll make sure I go over that cell wall and draw another line to label my cell membrane. Then I'll probably come in here just a little further in so that it can definitely be showing that it's the cytoplasm, and I'll draw another line. Now, my lines, oops, let me set it down so I can draw a straight line. If you want to do your lines at an angle, that's fine. Just make sure that it's a straight angle and not like a curvy line. And then I'll continue on and I'll draw a line now from my nucleus on the other side of the paper so it's not too crowded, and then from the mitochondria on the other side, because I don't want to put all my labels necessarily on the same side of my diagram or my model because it'll make it too crowded. So once I have all my labels, oops, uh-oh, I lost my little cytochloroplast. Okay, so once I have all my labels there, then, or my lines for my labels, then I'm going to write the names in pencil, and I'm going to try to write lightly. And again, you can write either in print or in cursive. And we'll do, oops, this is the cytoplasm. And then this is the cell membrane. Okay. So I've written them lightly in pencil, and again I would take my fine marker and trace over them just like I did up here, and then I'd go back and erase it all. So those are the first 5 steps of your model that you need to complete this week. If you want to continue and write your sentences down here at the bottom, you're more than welcome to, but I'll do a video concerning the sentences next week and how to write them. But I have included how to write them with examples in the instructions, so if you want to get started on that as well. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the Google Classroom, and I will answer them as soon as possible. Thank you and have a great day.